Peter's dark secret is revealed, and Vorden jumps into the portal to save Quinn. Meanwhile, Quinn finds himself alone on a mysterious planet, facing a terrifying monster. Will he be able to survive against the pack of beasts?
Suddenly, Quinn could hear the sounds of something scurrying towards him at an amazing speed. As he turned, the beast was now in full sight. It was the same size as a large dog, with the head of a rodent, black in color and running on all fours. He would have said it looked like a giant rat. However, its body parts were muscular around its arms, while its body remained incredibly thin, so much so that the outline of its ribs could be seen. When the creature was a few feet away, it leapt in the air, and claws appeared from the creature's two front limbs. Quinn, almost out of instinct, swiped his hand, letting out a blood swipe. The attack But Quinn had underestimated the speed and the responsiveness of the Rataclaw. It had learned from last time what to look out for and jumped to the side, avoiding the attack. Then it dashed forward, increasing its speed, and jumped out at Quinn. Just in time, Quinn had managed to shove his gauntlet into the mouth of the beast. As its two big teeth clomped down on the gauntlet, he heard a creaking noise. Defense 1. Durability of weapon has decreased by 50%. Strength has fallen to 3. "Get off me!" Quinn shouted as he started swinging his arm, trying to shake the beast off, but the beast had clomped down hard, refusing to let go. With the beast stuck to his arm, it was too dangerous for him to use Blood Swipe and too close for him to perform a hammer strike. All that was left was to do it the old-fashioned way. Quinn then started to repeatedly pound the beast on its head with his other hand, and with each strike, the grip started to loosen. "If you had just stayed away, you could have lived!" Quinn shouted as he continued to punch the beast, until finally its grip had come loose and it had fallen to the ground. Quinn looked like he had just come off the movie off a horror set. Basic tier beast Rataclaw has been defeated. 100 EXP points gained. First basic tier beast killed. Bonus EXP awarded. 200 EXP. First time killing Rataclaw. Bonus EXP awarded. 100 EXP. 880 of 800 EXP. Multiple notifications had been received at once, and everything came as quite a shock to him. Not only did he receive more EXP for killing a beast compared to fighting against a human, but he also received bonus points too. Similar to when he faced a new power level for the first time, he had gained bonus points for killing a basic tier, as well as bonus points for killing this specific beast for the first time as well. In a way, beasts were a goldmine for his system. "Congratulations, you are now level 5. Race, Halfling, HP 30 of 30, 40 of 1600 EXP, Strength 13, 2, Agility 15, Stamina 12. Leveling up had given Quinn one extra stat point. Looking at his stats now, he decided to put the stat point into Strength. Strength 14, 2. The reason for this was the skill Hammer Strike. It needed a total of 15 Strength to perform. While he had the gauntlets on, they gave him an extra bonus of 3 strength, but when the Rataclaw had damaged the gauntlets, the strength dropped to 2. If his gauntlets were to be destroyed, then he would no longer be able to perform Hammer Strike correctly. So first, Quinn decided he would get his strength up to 15 before focusing on stamina and agility. But the system still had one more surprise for him. New skill unlocked, Blood Spray. Blood Spray. The user's palm must be open to perform this skill. From the user's palm, a spray of blood pellets will be realized, spreading out covering a wide range. The closer the attack is to its target, the more damage it will do. Cost, -5 HP. The skill reminded Quinn of a shotgun he used to watch from the old movies. where the small pellets would spread out, hitting multiple targets. The problem was the cost of the skill. 5 HP was a huge amount, and even with his blood bank, Quinn would have to be careful when using it. The plus side was that it was a skill designed to hit more than one opponent. If Quinn had Layla around, he would like to test the blood spray out, but he didn't know how long he would be stuck here, so it was best to reserve his HP and as much blood as possible. Quinn then walked up to the dead beast on the ground. Looking at the black blood, it didn't seem appetizing at all. He wasn't drawn to it like regular human blood, and it didn't give off a sweet fragrance either. Still, there might come a time where Quinn was required to drink it, so he needed to test it out. Inspect. Rataclaw blood. If blood is consumed, is poisonous to the body. -1 HP for every millimeter of blood consumed. It was expected. The signs were a giveaway that his body was telling him to stay away. I wonder why my body only accepts human blood. The system had been oddly specific when his body started to require blood. This made Quinn think that even the blood of animals wouldn't work, even though some were red in color just like humans. The last thing he needed to do was rip or cut the body open and look for the beast core inside. It was a small crystal located in a different part of the body, depending on the beast. This could be used to either create more beast weapons and armor, or even be sold for credits. Both of these would be a big bonus for him. Suddenly, though, the sound of something running was heard again. As Quinn looked up, the sight of 10 Rataclaws running in his direction. Although basic tier creatures were weak, it was odd for them to travel alone, and Quinn had just gotten lucky. After struggling to face just against one, he knew he had no chance against 10. All he could do was run. He ran down the empty street, not knowing where he was heading. But the Rataclaws were fast and would soon catch up. That's when Quinn spotted a building, one that was far less damaged than the others. He went inside, but the space was still too large. He then spotted a stairway to his right nearby. After quickly running up the stairway and reaching the first platform, he stopped and turned. He knew he had no choice but to fight back. The staircase was narrower than the rooms, and he had the high ground. With his palm open facing downward, he was ready. Time to test you out. Standing on top of the platform, Quinn had a clear view of the giant rat-like creatures coming towards him. He aimed carefully, and then when they were about halfway up the stairs, he activated his skill. Blood spray! 25 of 30 HP. His arm jerked back as the skill activated, and a strong force of blood left his hand spreading out. The 5 rats out in front were sent flying back and toppling down the stairs. However, the shot had only hit the ones in front, and the rats behind quickly climbed over their fallen comrades. Quinn decided to head further up the stairs to create more distance between him and the rats, but then he could see there was a huge problem in front of him. Part of the ceiling from the floor above had crumbled and collapsed onto the staircase, blocking his way. There was no longer any space for Quinn to go up. He turned around and the rats were just starting to ascend the second set of stairs. The rats from before were quick to make a recovery and were behind them as well. This time, Quinn held out both hands with his palm wide open. Blood spray! The first spray of blood left his hands and knocked the rats over. Then, when the group behind them started to ascend, he cast blood spray again with his other hand. 20 of 30 HP. 15 of 30 HP. The rats had fallen over and were badly hurt by the attack, but knew they would soon recover. There were several small holes over their body where blood would leak from, but they just weren't deep enough to cause any serious damage. He made sure to keep his distance away from them and stayed on top of the stairs. Although blood spray was good at hitting multiple targets, it wasn't as strong as blood swipe. Only the force of knocking them back was powerful. If Quinn was to get close, he was afraid that the rats might recover and surround him, so there was only one thing he could do. He started swinging his hands out rapidly, aiming carefully at each rat. Blood swipe, blood swipe, blood swipe. As the red claw-like lines left his hands, at the same time he could hear multiple messages ding in his head. Rataclaw has been defeated, 100 EXP, 14 of 30 HP. Rataclaw has been defeated, 100 EXP, 13 of 30 HP. The messages continued onward until eventually all of the rats had been killed. Quinn then fell to the floor on his knees, gasping for air. The continued use of blood swipes along with his new skill, blood spray, had tired him out. 5 of 30 HP. Blood bank has auto-activated. 30 of 30 HP, 50 milliliters remaining in blood bank, 1040 of 1600 EXP. Congratulations, blood swipe has reached level 2. Chapter mid. After sitting down for a few minutes and recovering his stamina, Quinn was finally able to stand. He took a moment to take in all of the messages he had received. Only half of his blood bank now remained. As long as he didn't get injured, he only needed to consume 10 milliliters of blood every 2 days. This meant the remaining blood in his bank would last him a total of 10 days. He didn't know how long he would be on this planet, but he needed to be careful about using his skills. If he got into a situation where he needed to fight, he needed to use his fists and only rely on his blood skills in an emergency like in this scenario. Who knew if there was another human being on this planet? There were only 2 good things that had come out of the whole situation. The fact that his blood swipe skill had leveled up. There was no change in the description on how it worked, but assuming it had now leveled up, he hoped it was now stronger. If the system was like a game, then it meant the more he used the skill, the quicker it would level up. The only thing Quinn was unsure about was whether or not using the blood swipe in the game had helped it level up quicker. There was no way for him to tell, as there was no experience bar for his skills. The second good thing that had come out of this was the EXP he had gained. To gain the same amount of experience points as he had just gained at this moment, he would have had to play the game for days. Quinn then walked up to the dead beasts on the floor. Before, when he had killed the first Raticlaw, he didn't have time to extract the beast crystal from its body, but inside the building, it seemed like he was safe from other creatures. Using the tip of his gauntlets, he tore open the beasts. He searched around inside the chest, looking for a glowing crystal. Usually, someone doing this for the first time, it would affect them. Maybe they would have even thrown up a few times, searching around inside the organs of the beast. But for some reason, Quinn felt like he was unaffected, and it didn't bother him at all. He couldn't help but think ever since he had become a halfling, his view on what was normal and what wasn't was changing. After searching around for a while, Quinn finally found it. It was a small, round crystal ball with tiny little bumps all over, and around the same size as an adult's fist. Basic tier beast crystal obtained. Would you like to store it in your inventory? Then another message appeared. Inventory? Quinn thought. You mean I had one this whole time? Quinn selected the yes option, and suddenly the crystal in his hand slowly started to vanish away, and finally it had completely disappeared. He then opened up his status screen, and now there was a tab for inventory. As he selected the tab, he could see the single beast crystal stored inside. I wonder if I can put anything else in there. Quinn then tried using his mind to store his gauntlets into the inventory. If he could store weapons and other things, it would be really handy for future trips. He tried and tried, but nothing appeared from the system. Whenever he wanted to do something with the system in the past, all he had to do was think about it, and it would work. But even taking off the gauntlets and touching them, thinking about the inventory while wearing them, nothing seemed to work. Although he was able to make the crystal he had obtained appear into his hand and back into the inventory at will. Quinn then went to extract the crystals from the remaining 9 rats. Each time he did it, he found it easier than the last to locate it inside the body, and every time he held a crystal in his hand, the system message would appear. Basic tier beast crystal 10. He had collected all 10 and couldn't help but feel pleased with himself. The beast crystals could be used to turn into beast weapons or beast armor, but looking at the rat-like creature, Quinn had no idea what it could be used for. Every beast crystal, depending what beast it had come from, had a different use, and you could try to figure it out from what the beast was like. For example, if a beast crystal was obtained from a large, turtle-like creature, then it would likely be a defensive item that could be crafted. Maybe it could be turned into a shield or even a good piece of chest armor. But regardless, even if the item created Quinn had no use for, the least he could do was sell the basic tier beast crystals. Each crystal sold would sell for a total of 10 credits, which meant he could either use the money to purchase beast gear himself, or he could use it to spend more time in the game. After tinkering around in his system and his stamina fully recovered, Quinn decided to try to climb up to the roof of the building. Even though the building he was in was safe, he was on a strict time scale and needed to find the portal back fast. He walked around and looked for any cracks and gaps he could see in the stairs. Eventually, after making a few detours, he had reached the top of the building. The building was about 3 stories high and wasn't the biggest, but at least now he had a better view of where he was. As he looked around, all he could see were buildings that resembled human structures. That's when he spotted something. One of the buildings, without a doubt, had the same crest as the school he attended. So this really is a human shelter, but then why is it all ruined and destroyed? The building was large in size and square-like, but only 2 stories high. Out of all the buildings around, it was in better shape than all the others. Quinn had recognized the building as they had one in the city he was currently in. It was the military storage room. It was where they kept all their high-end equipment, ability books, skill books, and beast weapons. There's a good chance the portal might be located in there? Quinn then started to smile. Even if there isn't, I can't waste this opportunity.
What will Quinn find in the military storage room? Will he be able to locate the portal back home? What other dangers or surprises await him on this ruined planet?
Subscribe to the Pocket FM Blockbuster YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notifications. Check out our channel for more exciting shows.